Greetings and welcome. I'm Pharmacist Ben. I'll be sitting in for Doc today. Great to be sitting in the master's seat once again. I used to do this show all the time back in the day. I first became aware of Dr. Wallach's work back in the 1990s. As a young pharmacist, I first met Dr. Wallach in 1997, and I've been endorsing and supporting and participating in his message and Youngevity's message ever since. Dr. Wallach is a true genius, visionary, polymath, renaissance man, proficient in sociology and biology and pathology, anatomy, chemistry, and the history of nutrition, as well as animals and human beings, and an expert in improving the health of the lot of humanity. I am a nutritional pharmacist. For those of you who don't know who I am, I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs. I look at nutrition and nutritional supplements as God's medicine, the Lord's medicine. I look at nutritional supplementation as one of the most important strategies you could ever use to restore your body back to wellness if you're not as well as you want to be, or to keep your body well if it is as well as you want to be. Why nutrition? Because it's how our bodies are designed to run. Why supplementation? Because that's the stuff our bodies need to run. That's not in the food. It's supposed to be in the food. I want it to be in the food. I wish it were in the food. It's just not going to happen. Our soils are depleted. The plants that grow in the soils are depleted. The animals that eat the plants are then depleted. And then we who eat the plants and the animals are depleted as well. This depletion of the soils has been going on for a long time, since at least the early 1900s. This is one of the reasons why we got more doctors per capita in this country than any other country in the history of the world, and we've got more degenerative disease, more obesity, more diabetes, more cancer than any other culture in the history of mankind. What is it going to take? What do we finally have to do to understand that the medical model that has been so honored by our culture, by the talking heads on TV, by the government authority figures, by average Americans who are the victims of the medical model, what is it going to take for us to finally understand that this medical model is not here to serve us? And I'm not talking about heroic medicine. I'm not talking about stitching us up when we get hit by a bus. I'm talking about day-to-day, as they say, ambulatory medicine. If heroic medicine gets an A, and it sure does, in its ability to stitch up disasters, then ambulatory medicine, walking medicine, the medicine of degenerative disease gets an F. The stark facts are this: no matter how much doctoring we get, no matter how many drugs we take, no matter how many organs are removed or destroyed or ablated or radiated, without the essential nutrients that we need from food, we cannot be optimally healthy. But the good news is that when we get on a good nutritional supplement program, like the one designed by Dr. Wallach, like the one you can get today from Youngevity, you can assure yourself that you're getting the building blocks, the key nutrients that you need to reverse disease, to lower blood pressure, to get better sleep, to have a better sex life, to have more energy, to look better, to feel better, to live longer. These are the essential nutrients that we call the mighty 90 essential nutrients. There's 90 of them, and they're darn mighty. That's why we call them the mighty 90. They're mighty, and there's 90 of them. They're powerful. They're the magical keys to all human life. They're the keys to wellness. And if you're not feeling as well as you like, you can rest assured that you're dealing with some kind of deficiency in one or more of these mighty 90 nutrients. And likewise, you can rest assured you're not dealing with a deficiency in any darn prescription drug. There's not a single prescription drug on the planet that can do anything for your degenerative disease. This is so important, you guys. Last year there was an article that appeared, or 2 years ago, an article appeared in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology that suggested that everyone over the age of 5 should be put on a statin drug. I'm not kidding you, folks. Everyone over the age of 5 years old should be on a statin drug, according to the American College of Cardiology. We've got 4 billion prescriptions served in this country. That's 12 or more for every man, woman, and child. So there's a lot of Americans who are taking 24 and a lot who are taking 36. This is a disaster. Yesterday there was an article that appeared in the Canadian Journal of Cardiology. Cataracts from statin drugs. More signals emerge on analysis. Statin therapy, this is a quote here, statin therapy significantly elevates the risk of developing cataracts, severe enough to warrant surgery. What the heck is going on? How can a physician who is sworn to honor the human body, to do no harm, prescribe drugs routinely that destroy the body? This is the kind of situation we have, and it does us no good to rail on the medical model. We're responsible ourselves. If you're dealing with a degenerative disease crisis, and by the way, elevated cholesterol is a classic sign of elevated blood sugar and an iconic example of how much control we have over our health. If your cholesterol levels are higher than they should be, if your doctor has told you, and I don't even know how they know, they just have these statistical analysis that they do. If the doctor says, oh, your HDL is too low or your LDL is too high, he wants to put you on a statin drug. Hear this and hear this now. The number one way to control your cholesterol is to control your sugar. And the number one way to control your sugar is to control what you eat and to get yourself on the sweeties and to use the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and make sure you're on the Beyond OsteoFX with the magnesium. Get on a nutritional supplement program, change your lifestyle, make sure you're breathing. These are all the non-toxic, benign strategies and real strategies for health. Not with side effects. They don't require any doctors. They don't require waiting in line at the pharmacy, and they don't require spending any money, and you certainly don't need any Obamacare. If you got questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, we're here for you on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're taking your calls, as we always do on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We'll take them at the bottom of the hour. Our toll-free number is 888-379-2552, and priority line 831-685-1080. 831-685-1080 is your priority line number, 888-379-2552, toll-free. I'm Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program on the ZBS Radio Network. We're going to take a break and come back right after this. Don't go away. I'll be sitting in for the next 45 minutes or so, as I always do on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program with my good friend and colleague, Big Douglas Winfrey. What is up, Doug?
I thought we'd talk about broccoli today, as I've got a story here that I originally got from Fox News, headlined, Chemical Present in Broccoli and Other Vegetables May Improve Autism Symptoms. A study by investigators at Mass General Hospital for Children and Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. They found evidence that daily treatment with sulforaphane, a molecule found in foods like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage, may improve some symptoms of autism spectrum disorders. And this was published on the online version of PNAS Early Edition. They say participants received a daily dose of sulforaphane and showed improvement in both behavioral and communication assessments in as little as 4 weeks. Authors stressed that the results of this pilot study conducted there with the affiliated Lurie Center for Autism must be confirmed by larger investigations before any conclusions can be drawn about sulforaphane's therapeutic benefit.
Can you say that fast 10 times?
Yeah.
Sulforaphane?
Yeah.
You know what the active ingredient in sulforaphane is?
What?
Cyanide.
Really?
Yes.
That comes up on the show every once in a while. Somebody will notice that in our minerals that there's arsenic and things like that. They're like, what, are you trying to poison us or giving it, but there's arsenics in everything.
Cyanide. Well, that's people, you'll hear that about arsenic and about cyanide, about these elements. People get all freaked out about it, but cyanide is a very important part of, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Is it cyanide in there? It might not be cyanide. I take that back. It's an isothiocyanate. I think I have to look that up. It's an isothiocyanate, and I think those have cyanide, but I better look into that.
Yeah,
in any case,
before you start leading
I better
before
I embarrass myself in front of all our listeners here. And cyanide is an essential element, though. There's lots of medicinal value to cyanide. Well, I'm going to look that up during our break. I know it's a compound called an isothiocyanate, and I'm pretty sure there's cyanide, but I better look that up before I go out on a limb. You know what?
You don't want to go off half-cocked.
No, I don't want to do that. No, you're right. But in any case, sulforaphane is one of the most powerful phytonutrients you could find, and along with a couple other elements in Brussels sprouts and cabbages and broccoli and the so-called cruciferous vegetables, radishes, etc. These things are powerful, powerful medicine. In fact, they may be the most powerful of all the vegetables, the cruciferous vegetables, unless you have thyroid issues. If you have thyroid issues, you want to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, I was going to say that people with thyroid problems kind of need to stay away.
Steam your broccoli. That tends to be a little bit, tends to release some of those.
I've wondered over the last several years that, when you go out to dinner, and often if you get an entree, it'll come with steamed vegetables, and 95% of the time you're getting broccoli and cauliflower. And mainly, I found out I was questioning that, and my girlfriend used to own restaurants, and so she said, well, that's because it's real hearty and it keeps for a long time, so that's why restaurants tend to go that direction. Right. But it made me wonder why, because we're kind of having a little bit of an epidemic of thyroid problems in this country, and I wonder if it's from people eating so much cabbage and broccoli because they get it when they go out to eat every time.
No, the thyroid is linked to stress. The thyroid is linked to the adrenal glands, and when you have lots and lots of stress going on, eventually the thyroid will sort of slow down to compensate for that coffee energy that you get. When you're under stress or you drink a lot of coffee, you get this kind of jittery energy. over time, the thyroid will slow down to compensate. Another big problem with hypothyroidism, in addition to the fact that our adrenal glands are all burnt out, is autoimmune disease. In fact, between autoimmunity and lots of stress, adrenal stress, those are the two main reasons for hypothyroidism. And your point's well taken, Douglas. It's like an epidemic, right? It's like you seem like everybody you talk to, especially women, seem to have a problem with their thyroid. And this is very understandable given the fact that we're all freaking out on our adrenal glands, drinking lots of coffee, eating lots of sugar, living this high cortisol, stressful 21st century American lifestyle. And then we got to deal with autoimmune issues from toxins that get in through the digestive system. Dealing with the thyroid is job number one. Actually, I take that back. It's job number 3 after dealing with the blood sugar system and the digestive system, but it's all kind of one package. No matter what your health challenge is, those are the 3 systems that you want to work with: the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal thyroid complex. And there's tons of great nutritional supplements that you can use, tons of great longevity nutritional supplements that you can use if you have any kind of health challenge. We'll tell you what those are when we come back from our break, and we'll take your phone calls as well, 831-685-1080, 831-685-1080, or 888-379-2552, 888-379-2552, toll free. I'm Pharmacist Ben, along with Doug Winfrey, sitting in for Dr. Wallach on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back at you with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. And I was right, Douglas, there is cyanide in that isothiocyanate compound, the sulforaphane, which is super powerful, especially for the eyes and especially to protect yourself from the sun. You know, when we go out in the sun, one of the ways our skin protects itself is with these kind of sulforaphane-like compounds that are found in veggies. Problem is these microscopic compounds that are found in vegetables and in the peels of fruits are very, very difficult for the body to extract from foods. You got to have a fully functioning liver and gallbladder and intestine. You got to be making enough bile. You got to be able to process fats to extract these sun protective and antioxidant substances. And as we get older, that doesn't happen. It especially doesn't happen for women. And this is one of the reasons why we get wrinkles and photo damage as we get older. So one of the best things you could do to make sure you're getting your sulforaphane and isothiocyanates and other plant nutrients is to make sure you use your ultimate enzymes with vegetables. Whenever you're eating salads or veggies or any kind of fruits, perhaps, anything that has these kinds of phytonutrients, plant nutrients in there, if you take them with your ultimate enzymes and some apple cider vinegar to activate the enzymes, that will help assure that you can extract those nutrients out of foods to get the benefits. Just because you eat something, Doug, doesn't mean you're getting the benefit from that substance. Well,
that's especially true for people that are gluten intolerant. If you're not on a gluten-free diet and you're, say, over the age of 50, most likely you've probably got some fairly damaged small intestine and you're not absorbing any nutrients at all. That's how I discovered that I was gluten intolerant. Was I kept hearing Doc talk to callers about it, and so, asking them, well, do you have eczema or psoriasis or something like that? And then suddenly I developed some psoriasis behind my knee, and I'm like, I've never had skin problems. And sure enough, if I stay really good and stay off of the gluten, it clears up.
You weren't extracting your nutrients out of the food.
That's exactly right.
Do you know you can have gluten intolerance in the brain too? You have celiac disease of the brain and cause brain fog and forgetfulness and memory problems. A lot of folks don't realize that gluten can affect your mental health. In fact, all digestive issues.
Well, and they're finding now, I have a friend who was just recently, I never went to the doctor and actually got diagnosed. It was a self-diagnosis, but I'm pretty sure I was right. And but I do have a friend that just recently went to the doctor and had the blood test, and he said that his doctor told him that the grains, the wheat that was being eaten by, say, like our grandparents, was 5% gluten, and the grain we're getting now is 50% gluten. So that's part of the problem, is that the grain is actually containing a lot more gluten than it used to in the past.
Did they say why?
Probably because they're genetically modified grains.
But why are they why would they want more gluten?
Who knows?
They
want it to be sticky, and that's what holds bread together and baked goods and things. So,
do you eat gluten-free pastries and cakes and bread?
I do occasionally. I might get some gluten-free bread, and if there's, as an example, I got some gluten-free bread recently, so that because I bought some Braunschweiger, which I hadn't had in years, and so
you bought what?
Braunschweiger.
What the heck's that?
It's like it's a German type of kind of like a cold cut.
So you got some gluten-free bread with it?
Yeah.
Do you like the taste of gluten-free bread?
I have found one that is actually pretty good. You wouldn't know that it was gluten-free if you didn't know.
I have a hard time with that stuff. I wanted to talk about the thyroid real quick. We'll do that when we come back from our break and talk about some nutrition for the thyroid. Then we'll take your calls, 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. Got a couple lines open for you. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. And we're going to take a break and come back with more good information right after this. Doug, before we go to phone calls, let me just say a couple things real quickly about the thyroid. You know, the thyroid is just an organ of the body. It's a gland in the body, and it responds to nutrition like any other gland or any other organ of the body. We don't want to think of the thyroid as being something special when it comes to how we take care of it from a nutritional standpoint. The way you want to take care of your thyroid if you're dealing with hypothyroidism is, first of all, as with all health issues, take care of your digestive system first. Then you stabilize the blood sugar system, and then you work on relaxing the body. For the digestive system, use the Biolumin Nightly Essence, use the Z Radical or the Fucoid Z products, use your digestive enzymes after all meals, and of course apple cider vinegar after all your meals. For the blood sugar system, your Sweeties and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Beyond OsteoFX can also help a little bit with stabilizing blood sugar, keeping your intake of sweets and fruits, fruit juices and soda pop and desserts, even fruits, small amounts of fruits, rather than big honking watermelons and honeydews and lots of fruit without the peel. That can really wreak havoc on the blood sugar system. Making sure you're eating more protein is a great way to stabilize the blood sugar system, and same with making sure you're eating more fiber. Drinking water, just plain old water, can help dilute blood sugar as well, especially first thing in the morning. And then third of all, relax the body, making sure you're taking lots of nice deep breathing, lots of time for some nice deep breathing, just sitting on the couch and practicing your deep breathing for a minute or two every day. Hot baths, massages, yoga, meditation, these are all great ways to relax the body. And then, of course, your Mighty 90 essential nutrients, like they're important for your bones, and like they're important for your muscles, and like they're important for your brain, and they're important for your spleen and your lungs and every other part of your body. They're also critical for the health of the thyroid. As far as iodine goes, everybody knows about iodine in the thyroid, and certainly iodine is important for the thyroid. It's important for the breasts. It's important for the adrenal glands. It's important for the pancreas. It's important for all the glands of the body. It's important for all the cells of the body. But it's not like it's especially important for the thyroid, even though iodine is a key component of thyroid hormone. So yes, iodine is important for the thyroid, but it's not any more important, in my opinion, than the B vitamins and vitamin A and essential fatty acids and all the other nutrients that you'll get in Longevity's Mighty 90 essential, the Healthy Start Pack, the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, or whatever pack that you want. Focus on the basics: digestion, blood sugar, relaxing the body, making sure you're getting your Mighty 90 essential nutrients. And that's the program. That's the best program for thyroid health. Okay, 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, and we do have lines open for you. 888-379-2552, toll free. What do you say we hit the phones, Douglas?
All right, let's head to Stockton, California. And Linda, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Linda.
Hi. My husband has basal cancer, and in February they're going to do some surgery to cut it out.
Basal cell carcinoma, they call it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, a little skin cancer going on?
Yeah, and he's got spots on his head that he goes and they freeze it.
Okay. Well, basal cell carcinoma is a skin cancer. There's two major skin cancers. You've got the melanoma skin cancer, and then you've got the non-melanoma skin cancer. The melanoma skin cancer, that's the heavy hitter. That's the bad guy. As far as non-melanoma skin cancer goes, there's lots you could do for that. There's two types of non-melanoma. You have basal, and then you have squamous cell carcinoma. The basal cell is the most common form of skin cancer. There's, I don't know, probably 2 million cases of basal cell carcinoma diagnosed in the country every year. Obviously, because of the sun contacts the skin, and the sun is very powerful energy under conditions of nutritional deficiency, under conditions of problems with oxygen, problems with oxygenating tissue, and under conditions of high sugar or poor sugar control. This is where cancer really grabs a foothold in the body. So you got to focus on the basics, like we were talking about with the thyroid, with the nutrition, with blood sugar, and also with relaxing the body and oxygenation. Hang tight. We'll finish up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number. We've got lines open. Or 888-379-2552. Toll free. We're coming back right after this. Don't go away. Toll free. We're talking to Linda about some basal cell cancer. You there, Linda?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so here's the scoop with cancer, with all degenerative diseases. You don't want to focus on the cancer. You don't want to focus on the degenerative disease. If you make that mistake, you're doing the same thing the doctors are doing, except maybe you're doing it with nutrition or you're doing it with an herb or something. The idea when your body is breaking down is, if you really want to handle it, is you don't handle it at the level of the breakdown. The level of the breakdown, the cancer or the arthritis or the Parkinson's disease or whatever the health issue is, at that level you're dealing with the signs, with the symptoms. You're not dealing with the problem. The cancer might be problematic in terms of how it's affecting your life, but that's not what the problem is in the body. The problem is underneath. Nobody just gets cancer. It percolates. It takes a long time. It ferments. It's bubbling under the radar, and then all of a sudden it comes out. So people who have in their 40s or 50s or 60s when they get cancer are typically dealing with the culmination of many years, even decades of long-term problems. So the key to addressing the cancer, whatever the degenerative disease is to address the things that were percolating underneath for decades. And that usually means digestion, blood sugar, and then what I called earlier the adrenal thyroid complex. For the digestive system, Linda, I don't know your husband, never talked to you before, but I can almost guarantee you that he's got something going on in his digestive system that he probably knew about. Usually it involves constipation. It could involve loose stools too, heartburn, gas, bloating, all that kind of stuff. I assume that's the case, correct?
Well, you hit it on the nail when you said high sugar. I used to take a lot of sugar, but he's passed me up.
Well, cancer loves sugar, my dear. Cancer loves sugar. So we'll get to the sugar aspect here in a second. I want everybody out there listening, this is not just for Linda. This is for anybody dealing with cancer, degenerative diseases of any kind. Focus first on digestion. Even if you fast, even if you go a day or two without food, you're going to start to notice a reduction in symptomology if he's got symptoms. The Swear V products from Jordan Rubin, I don't know if you checked those out, Linda, yet. Amazing. The Swear V, also the Amasai and the probiotic-rich cheese, I like those too. But the Swear V is wonderful for fasting. If you've ever tried to do a fast, but you felt like you just couldn't do it, or you just got tired, or low blood sugar, and you felt like you had to have some food, get on that Swear V, do the 3-day cleanse, or even if you just do a 1-day or 2-day cleanse where you just drink the Swear V, a bottle every 2 hours, half a bottle an hour. You'll go through maybe 12 bottles or so, and that's a great way to clean the system, to hit the reset button, as I like to say. Make sure he's using the BioLumin Nightly Essence, the best probiotic supplement I know of, as well as the digestive enzymes after all meals. In fact, when you have cancer, you may want to consider using the digestive enzymes between meals because they have wonderful anti-inflammatory properties and immune boosting properties that may be helpful for folks dealing with cancer. As far as the sugar goes, obviously, the best way to handle blood sugar is not to put the sugar in the body in the first place, and that means bread and pasta and potatoes and rice and cereal and all the foods that break down and turn into sugar. Sometimes we can't do that, so just kind of weaning yourself off of those, and the best way to wean yourself off of those foods is by making sure you're eating more protein. And then using nutrition to help the body process sugar. Of course, the Sweeties is a superstar for that. Dr. Wallach, that's one of my favorite Dr. Wallach products, actually, the chromium and vanadium, both of which are important for helping the body process sugar. Magnesium is a superstar mineral for helping the body process sugar. You'll get that in the Beyond Osteo FX. Selenium is also important for processing sugar. And, of course, that will be selenium will be in the Ultimate Selenium product. And then, of course, the Healthy Start Pack. That always goes without saying. That's the baseline, the Healthy Start Pack. That's got the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. Sip on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Use 3 capsules 3 times a day of the Ultimate EFAs. And then make sure you're using the Beyond Osteo FX. And God bless you with that. I hope everything works. One last thing I'll tell you. There's something called the eggplant cure for skin cancer. There's a book called The Eggplant Cure, actually. You may want to get on Amazon.com and look that up, The Eggplant Cure. Anybody who's dealing with or wants to prevent or knows anybody who's got skin cancer, that's got some good information about how you deal with skin cancer. And I hope everything works out for you, Linda. God bless you. Thank you for your call. Okay, who's next, Douglas?
Well, let's head to Atlanta, Georgia. And Dan, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Thank you, Doug. Hi, Ben. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
I've been very frustrated the last 3 months. Pretty consistently, my sinus has been clogged up to the point of no air going through.
That's awful. And
pretty consistently throughout the day. I am, outside of that, extraordinarily healthy. I supplement a lot. I am gluten-free. I suspect that the reason for this is allergies, which I'm hypersensitive to horses.
Well, hang on. I can tell you exactly what to do right now. It's interesting. You ever hear that old joke where the guy goes, aside from that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you like the play? That's what I think of when you tell me that you're in good health, aside from that. That's a sign that you're not in good health, dude. And I'm not attacking you. I'm just teasing a little bit.
Yes, okay, I got you. I understand.
So
you're right. There's something
going on, right? There's something percolating in there. And you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the immune system, okay? Whenever you have allergies, whenever you have intractable allergies and mucus that's forming, Doug, you and I both have a good friend who's always clearing his throat. He's got all this mucus going on in his throat and in his lung area, in his respiratory tract. Whenever you have secretion of fluids, mucus, or even opening up of blood vessels, you're looking at the body's defensive response. This is so important. Your body is defending itself from something. It feels like it's being attacked. And whenever the body feels like it's being attacked, it manifests a generic response. One of those responses is the leakage of fluids. So the only thing you got to know, my friend, is what is attacking the body on a regular basis. Now, if it was the springtime or early summer, I'd say, well, maybe there's some hay, maybe there's some pollen in the air, etc. But even if that's occurring, usually the body can handle some pollen. If it can't handle pollen, or if you have chronic congestion, chronic mucus secretion, you're looking at something you're putting into your body on a regular basis, and that means food. Now, it could be that you're injecting it if you're an IV drug user. You don't sound like one, so we're not going to go there. It could be that you're breathing something if you live in a really moldy house and there's lots of fungus around and you're inhaling mold, and that might be a contributing factor. But by far and away, the most important consideration when you have allergies, when you have mucus, when you're intractable congestion, and by the way, that is a miserable experience. I know exactly what you're talking about. It is absolutely miserable, especially at night when you can't sleep. You feel like you're suffocating. You gotta link it to problem foods. Now, there's a couple easy ways to do this. First of all, if you have digestive problems, then it's real easy, because then every time you have heartburn or gas or bloating, you just connect that up to a specific food and then eliminate those foods. But sometimes it's not that easy. So what you want to do is every time you feel like you're congested, or even better, every time you eat something, write it in a book and then write down how you feel after you eat that food. Any kind of digestive symptoms, any kind of skin symptoms, or any kind of respiratory symptoms. And then you're going to want to eliminate those foods. The next thing you're going to do is help your body process foods. And there's lots of nutrients for doing that, but none is better than the BioLumin Nightly Essence. The probiotics, 3 capsules 3 times a day. You might also want to consider fermented food with that. Sauerkraut, miso, tempeh, and such. The Fucoidan Z is wonderful for patching up the digestive system. Many times people who have intractable allergies or lots of mucus secretion have something called leaky gut syndrome, which you may have heard of. Leaky gut syndrome is when you literally have leaks into through the digestive system into the blood. And patching up the digestive tube with the Z radical and the Fucoidan Z can be very helpful in this regard. Plus, the Fucoidan Z and the Z radical are great for your immune system, for strengthening the immune system. Making sure you're using your digestive enzymes both on an empty stomach as well as with food to help you process the food, and on an empty stomach to help break up clogs and clots if you indeed have some stuff going on in your immune system, and it does sound like you do. Taking the digestive enzymes on an empty stomach might be helpful. I'd also be using the Suero V and the Amasai from Jordan Rubin. Get on the Longevity website and order the Suero V, SUEROVIVE, Suero V, and maybe do a 1-day or 2-day cleanse. If you fasted for 1 or 2 days, what you'll notice is your symptoms would start to be reduced. You'd start to have more clear, your sinuses would clear up, and then what else you'd notice is when you started eating again, immediately your sinuses would get clogged up again, and that would be an easier way for you to assess the relationship between specific foods and your respiratory symptoms. I hope that helps. Thanks so much for your call. One last thing for allergies: sometimes squirting a little bit of vitamin C in a saline solution bottle right into your nose can help. Also for ear infections, sometimes that helps too. And then that's good. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it. Hope we helped you out. 831-685-1080 is your priority line number. 888-379-2552 toll free. I'm Pharmacist Ben, along with Doug Winfrey, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. Don't go away. We're coming back right after this. Who's next on the line, Douglas?
All right, let's head to Utah. And Linda, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Thank you.
Hey, Linda.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
My husband weighs about 180 pounds, and he's been doing the the starter pack for over 2 years, or about 2 years.
Okay.
And he does it pretty faithfully.
Okay.
And he also does glucogels and selenium.
Okay.
So within the last 6 to 8 months, he has developed ringing in his ears, and we're wondering if it's maybe too much of something.
No. That's a degenerative condition. That's a sign that the body's starting to break down. It's inflammatory.
Oh, okay.
It's inflammation and a breakdown of the little tiny bones and inflammation that's affecting the nerves in the ear. And so what you want to look at is a couple of things. First of all, you want to look at why is the body inflaming? What's the attack? Inflammation means attack. So whenever you hear the term microinflammation or inflammation or inflammatory diseases or inflammatory factors, what you're talking about is an attack, a defensive response that's a response to an offending agent. Usually that means food. So again, you want to focus on digestive health issues. It's rare that somebody will have, in fact, I'll tell you, I've never heard of anybody having a degenerative health condition like tinnitus, which that's an example of a degenerative condition. By the way, degenerative means it doesn't get better on its own. Anytime a health condition doesn't get better on its own, it's degenerative. So tinnitus is a degenerative condition. Anytime anybody has one of those degenerative conditions, whether it's arthritis or Alzheimer's or tinnitus is Alzheimer's of the inner ear, it's Parkinson's disease or arthritis of the inner ear, it's the same thing. Focus first on food. Focus first on food. Focus first on food. That means link foods to bowel movement problems, gas, bloating, heartburn, queasiness, nausea, fullness. All of these are digestive symptoms, and they got to be linked to food. I know I say it all the time, but it's so important to understand. There's not like there's magical pills for tinnitus and magical pills for cancer and magical pills for arthritis. It's like we got to take care of the system that the tinnitus is existing in, or the arthritis or the Alzheimer's or whatever it is. The medical people, they'll say, oh, we'll take care of your arthritis and your tinnitus and your Parkinson's. We'll give you a pill for this and a magical drug for that and a magical surgical procedure that will get rid of this condition forever. But they don't focus on the circumstances that the body, that the disease or the degenerative crisis is living in. The first circumstance that all degenerative crises live in is the digestive system. Look for problem foods, and the way you look for problem foods is look for digestive problems and then link those to the foods and eliminate foods. If you can't find one, fast for a couple of days, and then what you'll notice is your body's more sensitive to specific foods, and then sometimes after you fast for a couple of days, you'll take in a food, you'll eat a food that you had no problem with, and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh my God, that makes me feel really uncomfortable. It's like you resensitize your body to specific foods. That's job number one. Does that make sense so far, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, and then step number 2 is you got to start focusing on patching up the digestive system. Over time, we get holes in our gut, literally microscopic holes in the digestive system. It's called leaky gut syndrome, and patching up the gut can help prevent those things, food particles, literally little pieces of hamburger will get into the blood, and that's a disaster for the body. It should be perfectly understandable that once little particles of food get into the blood, all kinds of health havoc can be wreaked, including tinnitus. So patching up the gut with the Z-radical or the fucoid disease a little bit better. Bone soup, where you make chicken soup out of real bones, that's a great way to patch up the digestive system. The glucogel caps, that's an amazing nutritional supplement for strengthening the digestive system. The amino acids in the glucogel caps are like pure digestive tract connective tissue, and they can help build the digestive system as well. Don't forget about stabilizing blood sugar, using the sweeties, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, reducing your intake of breads and pastas and cereals as well as desserts. Practice your deep breathing. Get on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients as well. And I know you said he was on the Mighty 90. Double up on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Folks, sip on the BTT all day long. No matter what your health challenge is, no matter what your degenerative health crisis is, you're going to notice you're feeling better. I'm Pharmacist Ben for Doug Winfrey and all the folks at the CBS Radio Network. Have a wonderful, spectacular, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.